Hi, and welcome to Modding Mental Health,
a podcast about video games and, well, mental health.
In this episode, we discuss Life is Strange. Due to the content matter of the game, we talk about suicide, portrayal of mental disorders, gun violence, grooming, drugs, and death.
Now that you know what's coming your way, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and join us as life gets weird. Welcome in, Messenger, to the second episode of Modding Mental Health. How are you? I would ask you if you had a good Thanksgiving, but you're not American, so how's your week been?
I am just enamored by the smoothness of how you just put your recording face on and went right into that. Wow. You're incredible.
When I get comfortable and I'm in the environment, my professionalism takes over. I'm over the giddiness in front of you. I'm all business now. Although beautiful women do make me nervous, but it's okay.
That's all right.
Messenger's blushing right now. You can't see it, but she's very red.
Well, it's fine. I'm wearing my dinosaur.
I know, that is so cute. Where did you get that? You don't know?
A small online warehouse called Amazon.
Oh, the Jeff Bezos attire. Lovely. I hear it's exclusive.
Oh yeah. Okay. So how was my non-Thanksgiving? It was pretty nice. I did not eat turkey, and we were not thankful.
We were not thankful.
Yeah, we don't celebrate it, which apparently sometimes is very interesting to tourists from the States who come over.
Why?
I've heard that a couple times. They go into restaurants and where's the Thanksgiving menu? We're like, what do you mean Thanksgiving? You have to celebrate Thanksgiving, right? We're like, no.
Oh my God, they're making us look bad.
We didn't go invade another country.
Oh my goodness. I have never been more embarrassed to be an American right now.
Never?
Don't test me.
Okay.
There's been many moments.
How was your Thanksgiving? Tell me.
My Thanksgiving was pretty nice. We went to Pennsylvania to see Wyatt's family. Met a lot of his childhood friends and family members. It was nice. It was really small and cute, and the food was really good. Wyatt's mom hosted and made all the food, and it was delicious. I'm very thankful for his mother. Don't tell my mom.
That's
also,
really good.
Today's my mom's birthday, so happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Kat's mom.
Thanks. She says thank you.
Amazing. Well, that sounds really good, though. I can imagine sometimes when you go home or somewhere, wherever home is, for family events, that can be pretty stressful.
Oh, 100%. I know it was stressful for Wyatt. It's not my family. It was like a vacation for me. I treated it like vacation. We brought our cat along. She's a travel kitten now. So
Did she try to escape again?
No, because that was a new environment. She mostly hid the entire time. We didn't realize how shy she was, but it makes sense coming from an environment where Wyatt and I are constantly at our computers and very quiet, to go into an environment where the ceiling is yelling at you because everybody is stomping around upstairs, and she's never experienced that before. So it was very interesting. She would just hear the ceiling creak from the footsteps, and she would look up at it and then run away. It was so funny.
She's like, oh shit, humans talk? My humans don't do that. My humans game.
Yeah, for real. But I managed to play some Life is Strange. I unfortunately couldn't stream it though, because I overestimated myself and our Wi-Fi was just horrible. And then Wyatt had to work, and we were right next to each other in his basement, so I didn't want to disturb him. So sorry, guys. Oopsies.
That's all right.
Oops.
See, you didn't stream it, and then instead I streamed it.
See, it works out. Messenger was like, I know this bitch isn't gonna do it, and I'll do it myself.
No. Do you want to tell everyone about the escapades of the game?
Oh, of my experience playing it? So I just, the lovely Rodmer gifted me the remastered version. And so
Rotmer. Shout out to Rotmer. Amazing.
Right. So
Incredible.
the first time I played it, I think I was playing it through yours, right? And when I got to episode 2, it wanted me to buy the game again. It wanted me to buy all the episodes. Right. Confusing.
Oh. Yeah, sometimes okay, we're a family officially because we have a family share. And sometimes when there's an update, and I think there was an update recently, like we basically have to do the whole thing again. Because your library also does not show up on my library anymore.
Oh.
We're apparently not family anymore, which is really sad.
That makes sense. So I couldn't do that, and then Rodmer gifted me the remastered, which was very nice of him. So I played through episode 1 again. Got to episode 2. My game crashed, and then I had to redo episode 2. And then while doing that, I encountered this problem where I would go to interact with something, and my cursor to slide over to click on that interaction just wouldn't show up. It didn't matter how many times I would like go and interact with something else or go back to it. At first I thought I was doing something wrong, like I had to interact with something in a certain order for it to show up. But then I Googled it and then watched a walkthrough and realized I was doing it right and it just wasn't showing up. So I always had to reload the last checkpoint or either restart the like Steam. So I'm like halfway through episode 3 technically, but I've watched a lot of gameplays and recaps, so I know what happens and I know everything.
You're
but
all caught up.
Just my own experience became very frustrating.
Oh, I can imagine. Get a controller. Maybe it's better.
I tried. See, when I tried streaming it the first time, I tried a PlayStation controller. I need to get an Xbox one because every time I've used my PS4 controller, it's never worked.
No, because Microsoft and Xbox love each other, but not PlayStation.
Yeah, I know. It makes me sad.
Yeah, there's these like knockoff Xbox controllers. You can also use those. Or Rotmer, do you want to get a controller too?
Should I add? Hey, do exclamation point throne in the chat? Add it to my throne wish list?
Yeah. Throne wish list. Incredible. Yes. Yeah, no, I've only been playing it on controller. I've never tried playing it on mouse.
And it's one of those games where you really like, you don't sit up for it. I don't know how to say that. No, it's a narration game. It's not something that you need to be leaned into. It's something that you need to relax and like pay attention to the small, like the imagery almost, not like.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. That's why I only play this on controller. Because it's exactly because of that feeling, like the leaning back and like playing it like that, like this. Hold on. Like,
oh, see, yeah.
Oh, you can't. Messenger nobody can see that.
She leaned all the way back. She leaned all the way back in that chair.
Yeah.
Am I a little turned on? Kinda.
Oh my god.
Those are my intrusive thoughts. I have OCD. Don't listen to me.
Hey. No. We love listening to you. That's why we have this.
Oh, you're right.
That's why we have this. All right. But yeah, that is very unfortunate. I'm sorry that happened to you.
That's okay.
I hope you're able to play this, like fully experience it yourself.
I plan to, and I would like to do the other episodes. You were playing.
Yes.
What, seasons?
Games.
Is that what they're called?
Oh, like they're separate games.
I know.
Like
Is it just 2, 3, and are they called anything else?
The second is just called Life is Strange 2.
Oh, see?
And then the third one is called Life is Strange True Colors.
Oh.
And I'm currently playing the second one. Actually, my partner and I started playing that together. So we have to finish it up so that I can like play it on stream because I want to experience it alone first. You know, I should like,
I feel that.
And then the third one I know nothing about. So, but yeah, we're going to talk about the first one. Anyways, Kat, so because you have never experienced it, I recommended this to you to play. Can you give a quick summary of what your first thoughts were when playing the game, Kat?
My very, very first thoughts were kind of like mostly just slow, a little confusing because you kind of just, it's one of those stories where you kind of start in the middle and you learn as you go what happens. But in a way, I kind of liked that towards the middle because then it's just kind of like you figure out all the puzzle pieces. So I would say towards the beginning, my first thoughts were I really resonated with Max because she has a lot of self-doubt. And I feel like that reoccurs a lot throughout Life is Strange. They're like constantly, like any decision she makes, she's like, well, what if I did it that way? Which of course is just to prompt you to do it the other way as a player. But if you really want to get into the nitty gritty, she has issues.
Same girl, same.
And especially this quote that Mark Jefferson said really stuck out with me. I relate to it as a creator and video editor. He said, that's what separates the artist from the amateur. Now all you need is the courage to share your gift with others. And I think that's like the scariest part is because you can make something all day, every day. I think the most honorable thing you can do is show your art and put it out there to the public and share it with everybody because art is the most vulnerable part of yourself. And sharing that with someone is a brave thing to do, especially if it doesn't resonate well with that person.
I understand what you're saying. I think I fall on a different line. I'm more of the do art for yourself. You don't have to share it. It can be for you. I think mostly because, okay, full disclosure, I went to a mental health clinic for 10 weeks and we used art a lot as a method of therapy, and it was to like connect with ourselves. So I think that's why I also have a bit of a different opinion about this now. I think it changed a lot. I think it used to be also this like you share it and then it's you make yourself vulnerable through sharing it, like you said, and only then can people see it. And I think now I fall under a different spectrum where I'm like, it's still art and it's still brave of me to make it, because in the end, really getting in touch with yourself can be a lot more stressful than actually getting in touch with others.
We've even talked about, didn't you used to make AMVs? Okay, see? Sorry to expose you. Teehee.
Nobody will ever find them. Nobody
will ever find mine either.
You actually already showed them to me.
Whatever. Shut up. But like having that way to express, I don't know, any type of emotion has helped me because I'm not one to verbally express it unless I'm really pissed, I guess. It's like I reach a breaking point, and my boyfriend knows this, where if you push me hard enough for me to tell you how I feel, I'll just like explode on you and essentially start roasting you.
So you go all Chloe when you're
cornered. Wow. Maybe that's interesting. Wow. Perhaps I do.
Oh, a little bit. Yeah. So you said like first thoughts a bit slow. We already talked about a little bit last episode about gun violence and shootings. So I think we covered that bit. It is gut-wrenching to see happen. So
Nathan, there's a lot more gun violence than what I initially thought, just from the bathroom scene with Nathan. There's a tons more. Like when Chloe and Max are in the junkyard together. There was another, not just the gun violence, but Chloe getting drugged by Nathan. I can't remember. I'll have to fact check myself, but I know some universities are shutting down like fraternity houses because of all of the women that have been drugged at their frat parties and have been sexually assaulted. So I know like a lot of universities are just shutting down sororities and frats because of all of these all of these tragedies that are happening, like of people getting fucking roofied because they're
It's
drunk
insane.
and they don't know that they're being drugged. It's absolutely insane to me.
Actually, hold on, let me go back to that. I think I'm using that word too much. I have to really not use it because there is a stigma to use insane. Like, you could call me insane because I went to a mental clinic. So I'm going to
Is
vouch.
there?
I'm not going to say it anymore. Yeah.
I
would
didn't know
say
that.
so. No. I think it's like when you call someone insane, it's like, you're
Or
crazy,
stupid.
you're insane. Yeah, I hate that word too. Ugh, I hate that. But yeah, I'm going to vouch. I'm not going to say it anymore. That's wild. Let's do that one. That's wild to me.
That's, can I say whack?
I don't know what whack means.
Whack? Like when you whack something?
Okay.
Man, that's whack.
I guess.
Okay.
Now, if people know otherwise.
Hey, email us at moddingmentalhealth@gmail.com and let us know what you think.
Ayo. Yes, there is a lot more gun violence. I think I also did not remember. So in my second playthrough, I was like, wait, this is happening so much. Like, also the casualty by which there's Chloe waves the gun around, making it a toy almost.
Oh yeah, I didn't. That makes me uncomfortable.
In the junkyard. Me too. And Max expresses that a couple times too, but also doesn't really, I don't know, do any much thing about it. I don't know if you triggered that, but there's a way that you like that Chloe shoots herself, gets injured
in the
junkyard when you do the wrong thing, and it's awful. And I'm like, cool, all right, I'm rewinding. Hey, right. That's great. And then, I mean, in the end, she gets the gun taken away by Frank anyways. Did you try to shoot Frank?
So I have a lot of opinions about Frank.
Oh, me too, man.
And I don't really know. So this is another thing I want to add. With all the rewinding and the different plots and everything, makes my tiny brain hurt. Because like, wow. Because then it's like you go back and then one thing didn't happen, and then you go back again, and then okay. Anyways, so when we found out Rachel was with Frank and Chloe was upset about that, right?
Yes.
I didn't understand that. I mean, I could understand why Chloe was upset to a degree if I'm really playing devil's advocate, but I took it as, wow, Frank is grooming Rachel, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't understand how Chloe could see that relationship and be like, oh, I'm mad at Rachel for leaving me and doing this. It should have been like, oh my God, Frank is taking advantage of this girl. Like, Rachel would never probably do something like this. Like, this is whack. This is whack.
Very wild.
Very,
it's
very
horrible.
wild.
I had the same reaction when they were in the RV and going through all his
the
stuff.
Photos,
and
then,
Chloe's reaction really rubbed me the wrong way, because I thought Chloe's personality, her characterization is more like she definitely is a feminist. She, or at least she portrays herself as such in ways. She's a very strong character in that sense. Well, partly, and then you kind of find out what's hidden underneath. But she has very strong opinions about what men and women should do or should not do. And I thought the first reaction was going to be like, oh my God, did he like abuse her? Like, what's happening here? And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe she would do that to me. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? And then again, I have to remind myself that these are teenagers, and maybe that's also a thing that comes with life experience. I'm not sure.
But if you think back to your teenage self, do you think you would have reacted in that way? Because thinking about me as a teenager, I don't think I would have reacted how Chloe did.
Depending on what age. I think if I was like 13, 14, I would have reacted the same. I don't think I would have reacted with like 18. I think at 13, 14, I would be pretty quick. I was a very internalized misogynistic shit.
Yeah, I would
pretty
say
awful.
I was too.
I grew. That's all right. But yeah, no, I think not with like Chloe's like what, 18, 19? I don't think I would be at Chloe's age. No. They're
like seniors. And then going back to that, I really think Chloe takes things for granted. Like when she really pushed Max to her limit of making her rewind every time something happened, to the point where Max got a fucking bloody nose and would keep collapsing. And I just thought that was really selfish. Not to mention that Chloe, I guess I want to say tease. He teases her into kissing her.
Yeah, it's a bit of like coercion. Okay, can I just say one thing? I'm probably people are gonna hate me for this. I don't like Chloe.
I don't like Chloe either. I don't.
No. She's a bad friend. Like, she guilt trips Max to an extent. I'm like, you could have called. You could have done the same thing.
Yeah.
You could have driven over to Seattle.
Communication is a two-way street.
Right. And then I feel like she's pretty abusive towards her. Like, I don't think she's a good friend. She's pretty awful to her. She is very gaslighty as well. I feel in
definitely.
terms. And then the whole gun thing. Nope. I don't like her. I still cried when final thing, when I sacrificed Chloe. I still cried.
So did
I still cried my eyes out.
Well, because
all these pictures, it's only the positive that you see in the end, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And that's how they get you.
I literally bawled my eyes out so badly. It's
so funny you say that, because I also sacrificed Chloe. And even like you said before, she shot herself in the junkyard on accident. She got shot in the bathroom. She also, where else did she get? There was another one.
She got shot again by Jefferson.
Exactly.
When they dug up
Jefferson.
Rachel's
Correct.
Body.
Right. Oh. And with all of that, I'm the type of person that believes things happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I know not everybody's like that. Sometimes I'm not even like that, but 95% of the time, I believe things happen for a reason, for the best or the worst. And I fully believe that Chloe was supposed to get shot and die. And that's why it kept happening. And Max just couldn't accept that. And she kept changing it, and that's why everything got worse. You know, like, Chloe was meant to die. And then when she didn't die, things were even worse for her. She wanted Max to do a lethal dose on her. So
yeah, in the alternative timeline when her dad was okay. Yes, there's a lot that was happening there. I think it was the final argument that she made herself too, right? Before you sacrifice her, she tells you, like, before you make that choice, she tells you, I think I was supposed to die. And this was a nice final few moments that we had together, and I accept this, and this is my end. I felt that was I think the most mature I have seen her. I think that was the most mature I had seen Chloe throughout the entire game, which I guess is a point the game makes too, the growth of a person.
To go on Chloe being sacrificed, this is like a trend of things that I've noticed in a lot of media. It's the representation of woman relationships, like lesbian relationships, for instance, and how one always ends up getting unalived. And how unfortunate is that, to just constantly watch a representation of oneself, to just constantly be like, okay, you got your happy ending and now you die. Like, that almost never happens in regular media, and that's so fucking shitty.
Yeah,
it's disappointing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's why on my first playthrough I did sacrifice Arcadia Bay, because I was like, no, I'm not going to do this now. I feel shit. And then I think you feel shit either way, but that one bit, and I feel like because it's very near and dear to both of our hearts, like, it feels personal that you have to do that from that standpoint. But then on the other hand, you're like, I don't think Chloe is a character in that sense. Also, I feel like if we would have sacrificed Arcadia Bay for Chloe, she would come and throw that back in our faces and like, how you killed my mom too?
Right.
Great, thank you.
You could have stopped Arcadia Bay from being demolished. How dare you?
Now, first you kill my dad, then you kill my mom. I feel like there would be this, and then they would like break up 2 weeks after or something.
You're totally right.
And then Chloe would come back, and then Max would fall back into the relationship. And that's a vicious cycle.
Well, they're already in that cycle. This is what the whole game was about, was this vicious cycle. It's been a loop the whole entire time. Felt like I was playing a loop. I mean, I kind of was, but
well, because you had to start over and over
again. I was
in
my own personal loop.
Oh no. Okay, moving on from Chloe a little bit. I think the people that I most wanted to talk about are Kate, Nathan, and Samuel. When it comes to mental health and portrayal of mental health disorders, and so on and so on. Because with Kate, we see the whole storyline of someone who is bullied to the extent that they want to kill themselves by suicide. That they would rather die by suicide than be alive. And either you're able to talk Kate down from the roof, or you're not able to talk her down from the roof, which I feel like is a very,
that was traumatizing.
Very like, oh, this moment is stressful, triggering, stressful, all this stuff, because then it makes you kind of responsible for not knowing enough about her. Like if you haven't paid attention enough to the game, if you haven't clicked on everything, it makes you.
Honey,
I don't like it.
I sucked.
I don't like how the game does
dick.
that.
I wanted to be her best friend. I felt so terrible for her that any chance I got to erase something from her whiteboard, or to just talk to her, or when she wanted to be left alone, I just left her alone. And on this playthrough, I'll say, instead of taking a photo of her with the Chloe's dad or stepdad, sorry, I interacted, and Kate said, "Thank you." And I said, "You're welcome, bitch." I'm with the 70% now that stopped it, whatever.
Me too. I did feel it was like, I don't even want to think about the alternative though. Like imagine you just casually played the game and just didn't like kind of play through, didn't pay attention to all of these things, and then you're kind of like getting quizzed there in this super stressful situation where you can't rewind, and you have to do this. Like it's very impactful in a sense, but then also I don't know. Kate's story feels very personal to me. I was bullied in high school, and I feel it a lot, and I feel there's even more from all of her background that comes into that too. So I made sure that I was basically the friend to her that I would like to have had in that age.
Yeah, same, exactly. That's how I viewed it too. I remember being in high school. Fortunately, none of it involved me personally, but a lot of girls in my grade, I remember the boys just passing around nudes of them constantly. At the time, it was always like dramatic, but then being at this age and looking back at it, it's like, how fucking immature. Like, how are they not embarrassed to like show that off or to pass it around? Like, it's embarrassing. And then for their friends to not tell them to shut the fuck up either is, I don't know. It just makes me upset. So I resonated with Kate too. And I feel like even if I failed to save her, I would retry and do it again, because that's how much it resonates with me. Just like keep trying.
Yeah. Absolutely. Same. So I feel like her like over portrayal was dealing with depression, anxiety. I think that's like the two main things. I think that's like the main parts though. And then glad that she then gets all the sweet stuff from everyone when she's in the hospital. It does feel a little bit hollow, and you're like, I can see people just sending her stuff.
That kind of shows nobody cares until it happens. Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, everyone is like, oh my god. It feels very real. Like I'm pretty sure I've seen that before.
The whole scene felt so personal. I feel like I've lived through that so many times, just with friends and.
Would you say Kate's portrayal is an accurate one?
Oh, definitely. I would say so. From her being like kind of a side character that you can just interact with and have the choice to either know what's going on or not, I would say 100%. Because it definitely fits that criteria of when people say, oh, I had no idea, like They were always there. They seemed very nice and happy, but it's like, okay, did you ever talk to them though? No. Okay.
Mhm.
How did you really know then? You know? So I would say yes. In my opinion,
Yeah.
yes.
For me, she feels pretty real as well.
Mhm.
There were some things I think that in the dialogue between Max and her, I don't know. Sometimes Max said stuff where I was just like, really?
I
Really?
agree.
I
And
don't
that's
know.
what I kept telling myself, the illusion of choice. Like either way, it's gonna be a uneasy outcome. They just want you to think that you're doing something there.
Yeah, I don't know. So I mean, but I think that's a general thing about Max. Sometimes parts of her dialogue were weirdly written. It didn't really feel genuine in a sense. There were some things that even the way she worded stuff, or some things that she said in ways where it was just like,
Really?
huh, aren't you supposed to be like 18? Why are you like, what a weird thing to say right now. Okay, all right. You do you, boo.
Bunch of men wrote this.
Did they actually? I didn't actually not look at the writers of this game. Should have checked that maybe. But yeah, I feel like, so Kate overall, I feel like it's a good portrayal of what someone could go through in school. I think it's a thing that happens pretty regularly, sadly. Yeah, people still don't pay attention enough to bullying, and
Yeah, don't be a Victoria.
don't be Victoria. Mm-mm.
Or any one of her sluts.
Oh, I hated that so much. She, like, literally,
But the fact she would say it like, oh, my minions, like right in front of them, it's like, guys, how are you even friends with this person who is to your face deliberately disrespecting you? Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, do you not have any self-worth?
like,
That is so mind-blowing.
she,
I could not imagine being a part of a like friend group social gathering with anybody like that now. I have no patience for that at all. Ridiculous.
No, that's just, yeah, she got better. I tried to be like, in this playthrough, I was just aggressively positive towards Victoria. So she got better towards the end. I was like, I can change her. But still, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I've never been in a friend group where someone refers to the others as minions or they're sluts or whatever. So I don't know what that is
before,
like.
In a way.
Oh.
When I was much younger.
Oh no.
But not like that drastic. It was definitely like a few times when we were like told to go get something. They're like, go my slaves. Yikes. Yeah, right? Me too.
Jesus.
Messenger just visually cringed her whole body.
So I guess that is something that happens. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, Victoria. All right. But yeah, so I would say like overall, Kate is a good portrayal. I do want to talk about Samuel a little bit because I have some thoughts.
Samuel is the custodian.
Yes. Caretaker, custodian, I don't know the correct word.
Yes. Okay. I was making the old man.
Yeah. You who feeds squirrels.
The birds.
And the birds. I would say he's portrayed as being on the spectrum.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. I like it in this way, but I don't like it in the way that he is written in the game. Because I would argue, because when we are Max, we go into room that he has the sprinkler and so on in, and you find like magazines of like fashion. I think you find something of Rachel's, a photograph, and you find like a woman's scarf or something. And I feel like he's a bit portrayed as like the red herring of what happened, and I just don't like it. And I feel like to a degree his being on the spectrumness or
it's used as a negative.
Yes, and I don't like this. Why put the photograph of Rachel there? You know, why put that there? And that was deliberately put there to make you think, because also Max is like talking to him and it kind of asking you, I don't know how to ask you this, I don't know, but I saw the picture. What did you have to do with Rachel Amber? And I did not like it. So I did, no, this does not get my stamp of approval for writing people who are on the spectrum.
Denied.
Wah, wah, wah.
That just hurts the stereotype. It's so bad.
Yeah. It's sometimes a bit strange, because his dialogue is often he talks about himself in third person, or he refers to himself in third person, but then he breaks that again and talks about himself in first person, so that's not consistent. So I was already flagging that. I was like, no, you can't just be like sometimes this, sometimes that, just to seem,
Quirky.
as a writer, you can't do that just to make the character appear more, for lack of a better term, strange to you.
Yeah.
No, and so like I'm glad that there's portrayal at all of people who are, and it's not said, it's not specified, but it's very hinted, at least, that he's on the spectrum.
It feels like they use his like strange quirk moments to make the player feel uncomfortable, and then when they don't want you to feel uncomfortable, they completely switch him around.
It's weird. I don't like it.
It's like, that's not good storytelling. That's just like a cheap way out.
No. I feel like in that way, his behavior is used as a plot device. Like his way of expression, his characterization as on the spectrum is used as a plot device to make you feel uneasy around him in certain times. And I don't like that.
No, I agree. I didn't even think of it that way. You're totally right.
I think it made me more uncomfortable the second time I played through the game. Because I interacted with him a lot more. Yeah, it's just so, and overall, the writing of Samuel does not get my stamp of approval. Writers, please do better. I want more inclusion of characters who are portrayed to be on the spectrum, please. But not like this. Not as a plot device.
Theory, yes. Execution, no.
Yes.
Horrible.
I'd say that. Yeah.
And then, last but not least, Mr. Nathan.
Mr. Prescott.
I'll be honest, Nathan, before I even saw the gun in the bathroom, he definitely screamed school shooter to me. Meaning white male. No, it's definitely pressy white kid troubles that he probably could easily avoid.
I don't know if he himself could avoid it, because I feel like there's a family issue going on too. It's portrayed that he's...
that's what I mean. It's definitely a family issue, but it's the fact he's... I don't know. I just feel like he has access to a lot of things people don't, and he's choosing to go about it the wrong way just because he can. Finally feels like he has the power to do what he wants, and he's going to use it to do horrible things instead of to get help, you know?
Yeah, so he does have the money in that sense. So I guess he could do something with that, and he doesn't. But then I guess he's like very manipulated.
That's what I was supposed to say, because he's also a victim. Because isn't he a victim by Mark Jefferson too?
Yes.
See?
Yes. He's definitely... Mark Jefferson is kind of throwing himself upon him and like pretending to be like a guardian for him, and then using him.
Another instance of grooming. See?
Yes,
Nathan's being groomed
absolutely. Nathan is absolutely being groomed too. I think this time around I was more like aware and looking for.
When you say that, like when you bring that up, I totally see it now, like thinking back of my playthrough, like, oh yeah, that makes sense why Nathan did that. It still doesn't excuse what he did, but it definitely it makes more sense.
And the game makes I think Nathan is the one where we almost explicitly get a mental health diagnosis, because we do find in episode 4 there's no wait, actually before that, in the swimming pool you find medications, and the one of them is risperidone, which is an antipsychotic and used in treatment for schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
I was gonna say, I feel like he had a little bit of he was a little bit of a schizophrenic.
He's at least portrayed to living with schizophrenia.
Right.
So he's like, I think, the only character from the game where the game itself is like, we're gonna give you a diagnosis.
Right.
And then
I think there was
we also get the letter from the psychiatrist office.
Oh, yeah. Because I was going to say, I think Chloe has pills in her room, but they're fluoroxacine. Is that how you say that? It's just anxiety medication, though. I used to take it. That's how I recognized it. I was like, oh my God, we're on the same meds at some point. Just quirky little things.
I think I must have missed that.
I think it's when you explore a room. I'm pretty sure it's either Max or who's the girl that you can... Is it Dana? She has a pregnancy test that you can interact with, and I chose not to interact with it because she gets mad. I think it's either in Chloe's room or her room. I can't remember, but...
Okay, so we get one more, like, meds then, in that sense. Like, you find a medication, and it's at least hinted towards that they take it because they live with certain mental health disorders in that sense.
Right.
Nathan, I think, is the only one who we know seeks professional help. So I think he's the only one. Fact check me if I'm wrong. Let me know. Flame me on Twitter. But I think he's the only one who we get a like medication plus know that he is like he has or he at least had psychiatric help, because I feel like the letter from the psychiatrist was like he's a danger to himself and others, and I suggest this and that, and it was addressed to the dad, and just I don't think the dad really took any action.
No, not at all. Do they ever?
No.
Messengers.
Some do. So I feel like he is a person outwardly portrayed as I don't know. I feel like he's a very good person, very good character to talk about when it comes to how mental health is portrayed in a video game.
Very flawed, which goes into since Nathan suffers from those mental health disorders, or is he like the villain? And we kind of already said this, but no, I don't think he is. I think he's a victim of his older peers.
He's being groomed by Mark Jefferson, and I guess the medication, or instead diagnosis, is there to an extent explain why he acts, or why maybe it's easier for Mike Jefferson to take advantage of him.
Exploit him completely.
Yes. I would suggest it in a way there. I do think there is some voice lines that Max says towards him when she finds the medication that are not so kind.
It's okay for Nathan to be hooked on these drugs, right?
So that is what she says when she finds the drugs.
Gross.
And I
Icky.
don't like that at all.
Neither do I.
I felt really icky when I heard that. And I'm like, thank you, Max. I'm also hooked on those drugs, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt very judgy.
Yeah, it is, because then that makes me kind of feel embarrassed to have, like, my medication, because I'm also prescribed by a psychiatrist for my...
Yes.
When I looked up my medication, it said nerve number. It's better for me. I don't even know. It's like a depressant nerve number. I need the the extra right. Me too. But it works, so it works. But yeah, that's
the most
totally
important thing.
I would hate for someone to see that and be like, oh my god, cat, gross. You know, like that's so
Yeah.
that gives me the ick that someone could be like that.
And then Max is the main character. We're playing Max.
Right.
So that adds like a layer to it. Like whenever Chloe says something, I can be like, yeah, but we kind of balance out Chloe. We kind of criticize Chloe a lot, even though she's portrayed to be like a main good person. You can also tell that Max criticizes her too, and maybe even just in thoughts or something. But then when the main character's reaction to this is that, I'm like,
Chloe's rubbing off on her a little too much.
oh, apparently. So there's a bit of this trivialization when it comes to Nathan's mental illness, in just being characterized on being hooked on drugs as a voice line. I think that's what rubbed me the wrong way about this.
It's not until you like take your own effort to explore what that is and how it's affecting him that you really understand that he's not the villain. Like it's not like he's hooked on the medication. If you like really explore what the medication is, you would realize like, oh, you know, just by like Googling it, you could Google that medication label.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And in general, I would always be like, well, if someone is taking medication, it's probably not because it's because they're like hooked on something. It's probably because they're taking that because they want to get better.
You would hope so. But then you also have people who are, opioid addiction is really big in the States. I don't know about anywhere else in the world. I assume it probably is, but especially where I'm from, there's a huge epidemic downtown, like especially with the homeless. Like you would see people using on the streets and it's just so sad. But like people get addicted to, I guess, Xanax, right? Like Xanax is prescribed to you as a...
It happens quickly. But then again, I would like describe being an addict as it's just another form of a disease. Like it's not a choice.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah.
And then...
But I'm just like the things that are prescribed to you can also hurt you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like there's a really fine line of... That's why I say it's really important to find a medication that works for you. If it doesn't work, then you need to talk to someone immediately and get off of it. Because that's what I had to do. I went through so many medications before I found mine, and I'm so thankful it works well for me.
Yes, for sure. There's another thing. I just found it. So this is what Meg says when she finds the letter from the psychiatrist about Nathan.
Whoa. This says it all about Nathan. He needs help.
That's what she says. I don't know.
But he's already getting help. Isn't that letter from the psychiatrist like kind of already an indication that he's in the process of doing that? My thought, if I saw that, I'd be like, oh, thank God Nathan's getting the help he needs.
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, he needs help. It's like, yeah, no shit, Max. That's what the letter's about. Jesus.
He's getting help. But yeah,
poor Nathan, dude.
Yeah, poor Nathan, because the psychiatrist says the letter is addressed to Mr. Prescott, and the psychiatrist says, you have ignored my request for a consultation with you and your wife, so I have to assume you are no longer interested in my services. Regardless, I care about Nathan and I believe he needs serious help. So apparently, there was a way where when he was there, but then the parents chose to ignore it. So in that sense, it makes sense. Then when Max says he needs help, because yes, apparently it's not given to him anymore, and it can't be a money thing because they are loaded. It has to be like a stigma thing.
A dignity thing. It's because they're in air quotes, a high-ranking family. God forbid their son is caught in that type of atmosphere.
Awful. But yeah, so there's some, I would say with like Nathan, there's like some good and some bad. I would criticize some voice lines that Chloe says about him, because I'm also like, yeah, I don't like the stigmatization of people who like use drugs because they are addicted to them, and it's like this hooked on is like kind of rubbing the wrong way.
Yeah.
A little bit. Don't like it much. Kind of, if she had said like, what are these meds for? Because it's not explained, you can just see the tag. Like, maybe that would have been a better way. Hey, writers, hire me.
Yeah.
I can rewrite. No, I don't know, something like that.
No, I agree.
I would like that more as like a characterization of that. In that sense, just a thing on the side, I guess. But yeah, I think like overall, it is not the worst portrayal, which is not a good thing to say. But like overall, it's not the. It's
For
not
what
as
we
if
have
that's his only
currently, for the games we have currently, I would say it's not the worst we've seen.
No. I've seen far worse.
If anything, I would say it's pretty accurate. If you look into it, I feel like if you look into it and you put all the pieces together, it's accurate to an extent, but if you're just playing through and you're not looking for those things, I would say it's not. I think it just really depends on how your own playthrough.
I think that's the point I would make too. It comes in with what prejudices you yourself go into the game with. So if your prejudice is that people with people with mental health disorders are bad people, which many people still believe, then you would also only see that in Nathan, right? You would see that, oh yeah, sure, it's like there. If you actually go in with a bit more like differentiated standpoint, I guess, so like this, because we have to come in it with that, because that's us, that's a portrayal of at least parts of it, a part of us, then you can see how a person in power carefully selected a vulnerable person and made them into what they wanted them to be. And the reason why that person was also extra vulnerable is because that person was battling their own battles, like living with some conditions that apparently they were not getting help for, the right help that they needed. But we don't actually know if he's on the right medications, if his psychiatrist is not consulting him anymore. That is scary.
Yeah, that's also true. I didn't even think about that.
I also only just realized that because, if his psychiatrist isn't talking to him anymore because the dad and the mom refuse to deal with that, who says that that's the correct thing he's getting right now? The correct dose?
Because when I started my medication, I went up slowly. Like we knew what dose I was going to end up taking, and I asked to slowly be put on that dose instead of just starting hardcore on it. And after that, they also called me in to like do blood work to make sure it wasn't raising my blood pressure or anything like that. So I just imagine Nathan's getting none of that. So I wonder if it's just making him worse instead of better.
Could be. I would have liked for the game to be a bit more, obvious about the fact that it's not the fact that he lives with a mental disorder, a mental illness that is making him a bad person.
It's the fact he's surrounded by bad people.
Yeah. I would have liked the game to make it, because they're pushing that narrative of like him taking medications, of him having been to a psychiatrist a little bit too much.
Schizophrenic equals bad.
Apparently. So that's the kind of what rubbed me the wrong way. And then again, I can see the other bit. But yeah, like you said, I don't know if everyone is able to differentiate between that too much.
I agree.
Yeah. I do like that the real villain of the story, Mr. Jefferson, isn't outright portrayed. Because I don't like it when someone who's acting in the way that Jefferson is just very easily put under the label of psychopath or sociopath, because these labels are thrown around so easily and most people don't really know what falls under that, and then it's usually linked with the term like villain or like bad person, which I think is super incredibly flawed. So I'm glad the game doesn't outwardly characterize Mr. Jefferson as anything. Just have him be a bad person. We don't need to have like a
and
thing
then
there.
With Mr. Jefferson's story, I feel like a lot of it kind of happens behind the scenes. Like, you don't even see what he's up to, do you? Like,
you get hints.
Yeah, so for them, I feel like if any word and if that label was to just be thrown around, that would be incredibly harmful, because then it's like,
yeah,
well, that could be anybody.
Yeah. I've seen fan forums where people discuss like if Mr. Jefferson is a sociopath or a psychopath, and that like kind of like rubs you the wrong way. I'm like, no, guys, please don't. Just those terms. Can we move over those terms, because
is that he's too passionate about his work and he flew too close to the sun. That is my theory.
Christ. I think he's a shit human being that loves to be on a power trip, that loves to feel very powerful, and it's just
red flags all around. Don't trust the art teachers
a lot.
Ever. They are not your friend.
I guess that it's like the patriarchy system comes in there too, a little, like not even a little bit, just pretty heavily, because he's a man. He loves to take, like, he takes control. He loves taking control about over people, especially women. I think all of his victims, except for the grooming of Nathan, were women and girls. So that is definitely one of those. And then I think he talks a lot about like innocence, preserving innocence.
He's really people. Preachy. Like, even in that first instance of like when they're in class together, he's so preachy, and like putting people on the spot like that just to either like prove them wrong or to make an embarrassment out of them, like that kind of shows a lot about his character too. I do not like teachers like that. Yeah, you're right.
He likes to be in power, and he then absolutely falls over and just abuses his power as much as he can. So yeah, I feel like that's it. But yeah, for Nathan, so I feel like there's some good and some bad in the way that he's written, for me, to sum it up. How would you sum up Nathan?
No, you pretty much got it right. Just unfortunate is how I would, if I could sum it up in one word, I would say unfortunate.
A very tragic character. The voicemail was also awful. When he sends the voicemails like, Jefferson is coming for me.
Yeah.
Like, you know that
and
Jefferson
he like apologizes in a way.
Yeah. And then it's like, he even says like, why does everybody do this to me? And I'm like, oh.
So what would your overall recommendation be for Life is Strange? Out of 10. Out of 10 tornadoes.
Okay, out of 10 tornadoes. What a ranking. I guess we like a 7 out of 10. Like, if we only talk about the mental health aspect, it doesn't rank as high for me, because there are some aspects of the story that are, I feel, where mental health is used as a plot device versus being important on its own. Like, one of these things being like us finding Nathan's pills. I don't know if that's so important. And then especially the whole Samuel thing. That's a plot device right there. That's a red herring.
Yeah.
And that didn't sit right with me. So I guess that's where I subtract lots of points. I do think Kate's portrayal was pretty solid. I don't myself have schizophrenia or bipolar, so I don't know about Nathan. I can only say that from a standpoint of recognizing that it is not his mental health that is making him a villain in that sense, but the overall circumstances. If someone goes into the game knowing about mental health, it's good. If someone has no idea about the whole thing, then that's easily lost. So that's where I subtract points to. Yeah, Kate's definitely really good. So yeah, I guess I would say 7 out of 10. Maybe 6. No, 7.
What about just liking it as a whole?
Yeah, I like the art style. I did like how the story worked. I did like the overall thing of time traveling. I found that really cool as someone who's he's like a completionist in games. It was really nice. Like, yes, I can just redo this. Whew.
Yeah.
Don't have to live with that decision. I like that a lot because I sometimes feel like, what if I could just go back in time and just try something else? That was really, really cool. And I do remember the first time I played this, I literally played this for 2 days straight. And I like came out of it as if I'd come out of like, I don't know, a whole new world. I do remember being really, really hooked on it. Second time around, I already said what the things were that didn't sit right with me. I still liked it. I think it was still very replayable, and I did a 100% of the game this time, so nice. I got all the achievements. So that was really cool. But then sometimes I was like, oh, this dialogue, I don't like this dialogue, please. That's a bit, it feels very, very staged at times. But yeah, so I'll stick with 7 out of 10. How many tornadoes would you rate this game, Kat?
I was gonna say 7 too. I think maybe, honestly, my initial thought is probably like 8.5 tornadoes. Just overall, I really like the storyline. I think it had a lot of different plot twists that I honestly didn't see coming that make sense looking back at, to be honest, so I couldn't really be upset about it, because sometimes when plot twists happen, I'm like, oh my god, why? Like, of all the things that could have happened, this is what you chose. For a mental health aspect, you brought up a lot of points I didn't even think about, especially with Samuel. I totally agree that that's a red herring and just complete BS. I think Kate was portrayed really well as someone who feels like I have known a lot of Kates and couldn't save Kate in a lot of ways. Her story really resonates with me. So I would say she's definitely, if we could focus on one thing, I would like to focus on Kate's storyline a little bit more, because it, in a way, it kind of interests me too. And then for Nathan, kind of like what you said, just I feel for him as the victim, but only if you really pay attention and understand why he's the victim, you can really feel for him. So I feel bad, but I don't excuse what he did completely.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. So in the end, it does come out down to 7 for you too, or are you sticking with the 8.5?
I'll do 7. We'll twins. We'll twins it.
You could have been 7.75. Is that the sweet spot in between?
Oh, you know what? Fine. 7.75. Blue hair dyes out of 10.
Oh, wonderful. Well, there you have it. That's our Life is Strange thing. Kat, do you have a recommendation for me to check out a game until next time?
Until next time. It's funny you say that, because I have it written down, but I've been thinking it's that time of year. It's winter time, the time when I first played the Beginner's Guide by the person who made the Stanley Parable. Have you ever? It's like a narration game almost. It's not even. Ooh. It's like a storytelling game. You just listen almost and walk around. But I played that game when I was 14, 15, I think. I was young. But that game changed my perspective on life at that age, is what I'll be dramatic and say. Yeah, it totally changed how I view things. I wouldn't say yeah, definitely like mental health issues, I would say kind of opened me more into it. But I would like to hear your thoughts and to see if you caught on to what I caught on. So
I know nothing about it, so I'm super excited.
oh girl.
Ooh, excited.
Me too.
All right, well, I guess we can call that a wrap on this episode. Thank you so very much for recording with me today, Kate. Kate? I called you Kate. I meant to say Kat. Anyways, thank you so much for recording with me, Kat. Guys, go follow twitch.tv/IamCatastrophic on Twitch. The link is also in the description of this wonderful podcast.
And follow Messenger over at twitch.tv/TheLittleMessenger, also in the description. Thank you for recommending me Life is Strange.
Oh my god, thank you so much for playing it for me. Until next time, I would say, with this lovely bi-weekly podcast, stay strange. I tried something.